what's going on and what it means to you. This is Local Talk Radio, 660 AM.
If you love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude better than the animating contest of freedom, go from us in peace. We ask not your counsels or your arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. May your chains set lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were our countrymen. Samuel Adams.
The time is near at hand, which must determine whether Americans are to be free men or slaves. George Washington.
And what country can preserve its liberties if its rulers are not warned from time to time that this people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Thomas Jefferson.
Posterity, you will never know how much it cost the present generation to preserve your freedom. I hope you will make good use of it. If you do not, I shall repent in heaven that ever I took half the pains to preserve it. John Adams.
I sincerely believe that banking establishments are more dangerous than standing armies, and that the principle of spending money to be paid by posterity under the name of funding is but swindling futurity on a large scale. Thomas Jefferson.
Government is instituted to protect property, this being the end of government. That alone is a just government, which impartially secures to every man whatever is his own. That is not a just government, nor is property secure under it, where arbitrary restrictions, exceptions, and monopolies deny to part of its citizens the free use of their own faculties. James Madison.
It would be an absurdity for jurors to be required to accept the judge's view of the law against their own opinion, judgment, and conscience. John Adams.
Whenever the legislators endeavored to take away and destroy the property of the people, or to reduce them to slavery under arbitrary power, they put themselves into a state of war with the people, who are thereupon absolved from any further obedience, and are left to the common refuge which God hath provided for all men against force and violence. John Locke.
It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. The gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here, idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but for me, give me liberty, or give me death. Patrick Henry.
My people perish for the lack of knowledge. God.
Welcome to Patriot's Lament right here on KFAR, brought to you in part by Bighorn Enterprises. For all of your trucking and construction needs, call 451-7310. I'm Steve Floyd, the monkey behind the machine. On the other side of the console this morning, we've got Josh Bennett from Bighorn Enterprises. We also have Dave Giesel from the Center for Liberty here in... I always forget exactly. How do you say that?
Campaign for Liberty.
The Campaign for Liberty. Okay, it's the
campaigning.
The American Campaign for Libertinism, or so. All right, Dave Giesel, Campaign for Liberty here in Fairbanks. Thanks for being here, gentlemen. We may be seeing Aaron Bennett as well from Far North Tactical any moment. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Obviously, big date coming up on Tuesday.
It's exciting.
It could be the first annual default day. Could be a new national holiday.
I'll be celebrating.
Let me ask you this, because it seems like every single story we hear about it in the mainstream media, every single politician who has a vote or has a voice in this issue seems to want us to be afraid of what's going to happen if we actually hit that point of default. Two questions, really. First and foremost, are we going to default on August 2nd, on Tuesday? Are we actually going to default? And the second question is, what happens if we do? So what?
No and nothing.
So, Dave, you say, no, we're not actually going to default, and even if we did, nothing would happen. Why do you say that?
Because everyone in Congress, with the exception of one individual, and everyone in the Senate, with the exception of maybe one individual, believes in socialism. So they're not going to default. They're going to borrow more money. And then even if they did default, what's the worst thing that would happen? The government would shut down, so everyone would be better off.
What a wonderful day!
Such an anarchist. No, what I really love about the way that the fear mongering and the finger pointing that's been going on. Last night, Senator Murkowski, speaking to Bloomberg News, blamed the Republicans in the House of Representatives that are, quote, backed by Tea Party groups that are so absolutist in their thinking. It's their fault for bringing us driving the nation to the brink. Okay.
Yeah, she's a socialist.
It's not the
Lisa Murkowski is a socialist. I've said it on radio.
All right, let me read you her quote. And again, this is a quote from Murkowski. She said this yesterday. I'm really worried about where we're standing, and I think part of that has come about because you have individuals that say it's my way or the highway. That's not how you govern.
Actually, that's exactly what government is. Government is the belief that society has to be organized at the point of a gun. Government is my way or the highway. She's just upset that it's not her way.
Well, and the whole point of is that why the Constitution has a Senate and a House is to govern us? Is that what their function is?
Depends on who you ask, I guess. I think it's funny is it's the people that are so stuck in their ways. It's not the fact that they're $15 trillion in debt that we were at the brink. It's the fact that people want them to be responsible that we're at the brink.
Just a little bit more, Josh. Just a little bit more, and then 5 or 6 years later, they'll fix it.
Seriously, are these people not sounding to you like drug addicts? Yeah, I'll get off the stuff tomorrow, man. Seriously,
we can actually talk about that.
Just give me one more fix. Give me one more fix today, and I promise you tomorrow I will get off the stuff. I swear.
Just one more hit.
Just one more day, and then I'll quit. I swear to you.
It's one more trillion. Just one more trillion.
Something that Ron Paul brings up all the time is that the U.S. government has already defaulted. They are constantly defaulting. When they print more money, they're defaulting.
That's a really good point.
The fact that in 2000 gold was $250 an ounce, and today it's $1,600 an ounce. So they've already defaulted by a factor of 6.5. Your purchasing power has decreased by a factor of 6.5 in the last decade or so.
And that is, again, to underscore, it is not because gold has gone up in value.
Right.
It is because the dollar has gone down in value.
I wonder if the Chinese think that we've already defaulted since the bonds that they bought in 2008 are only worth half of what they were in 2008.
Okay, let's take it out of government and out of politics for just a moment. I know you're involved with business, Josh. I'm involved in business here with the radio station. If we had a client who maybe was in a business deal with us, and all of a sudden, they weren't holding up their end of the bargain. They weren't paying what they said they were going to pay. What would you do?
Cut the tie.
You cut the tie. You just say, look, I'm not going to stay in business with you anymore because, you know what, I don't believe that you're going to pay me anymore. And instead of you could take the person to court, I suppose, to try to get the money out of them, but you don't keep loaning the money.
You quit consenting to be involved with them.
You don't keep on giving them a product and know that you're not going to get paid, and that's exactly right now what is happening. And what I like what Mr. Paul said about that is that, in a sense, that's exactly what has been happening. That we have been defaulting. Wait a second, you said that started at when? When did that start, Dan?
Oh, that's just in the last decade. You know,
wait.
The inflation.
I didn't think President Obama has been in office for a decade.
Yeah, it's weird because there was a Republican in the White House and a Republican-controlled Congress and a Republican-controlled Senate, and
we only went in debt $5 trillion though in that time, Dave.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah.
All right.
You know, if they actually just used, it'll never happen, but if they just use a free market business approach to run their stupid government, we wouldn't have things like libraries with their roofs caving in, because like if I owned, quote unquote, owned the library, and I gave the library a budget every year, and maintenance was in that budget, and so many years later the roof fell in, I would be firing the person that was in charge of that budget, in charge of that library. And, well, first of all, it would have never happened, because I would have been in there checking out the library and go, hey, I see that my maintenance money that I'm giving you is not going to the roof. What's going on here? And they would have fixed it. Or I would have fired someone and got someone in there that would fix it. But instead, the government's way of doing it is, well, the library roof just fell in, so
we need more money.
We know they will, because we'll just say, oh, look, you people aren't going to have any place to go read the book.
It's for the children. It's
for the children who aren't learning how to read in their government schools.
Oh, why are you such a hater? 458-TALK is the number if you'd like to join us on the air. You can get in queue. You can also join us in the chat room, KFAR660.com. Gentlemen, shall we go to the phones?
Sure.
458-TALK. Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Jim. Well, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. What's on your mind?
Well, I think it's propaganda in the news and generally incompetent on at least 3 cable TV channels. They're promoting this, that there's going to be some kind of budget cut. And if you look at what's going on, what they're fighting over is some future plan which will be carried out by some future Congress at some future imaginary date. The problem with all this is no Congress can bind any future Congress to anything. So it's a farce.
You need to quit thinking.
If anybody ever read the Constitution and understood that no Congress can bind any future Congress to anything. So these fools are sitting around down here fighting over a future budget-cutting plan, which is purely imaginary, to be carried out by some imaginary action of some future Congress. This is absolutely stupid. And these fools on TV, the next thing they're saying, well, if we don't raise the debt limit, we default. Default is when you don't pay your debts. It is not a default when you do not borrow more money.
But we need to borrow the money to pay the debt. Is what they're trying to tell. That's what they're telling us, Jim.
Yeah, they're lying to us through the rug. They got $200 billion or more a month coming in taxes, and that's more than ample to pay the debt service on what they owe now. Your next thing in here is that the big lie is that Social Security and Medicare and some other programs that are set up in trust funds will not be, people will not receive their checks. Well, in the case of Social Security, they got $2.6 trillion sitting in the bank down there. Last year, they took in $700 billion more than they paid out. It is simply a matter of pressing the key on a computer to send out the Social Security checks, because most of them are direct deposit. Same thing applies for whatever Medicare payments they owe.